Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Wrap, brought to you by Michigan Medicine Headlines. I'm Jeremy Fallis with the Department of Communication.
And I'm Dan Ellman, also with the Department of Communication. Today, we bring you an episode about the Office of Counseling and Workplace Resilience, known as OCWR, and some of its great programs and initiatives, including the refreshed Compass Peer Support Network offering.
But before we bring on our guest for the show, be sure you go back and get caught up on all the episodes of The Wrap you might have missed. You can find the shows on your favorite podcast hosting platform and on the Michigan Medicine YouTube channel.
All right, on that note, let's bring in our four guests. We have Denise Irvin, Nurse Leader for Wellbeing and Resilience, Jody Eckleberry Hunt, Program Manager for Workplace Resilience and Wellbeing, Jillian Dronfield, Assistant Director of OCWR, and Whitney Begeman, the Director of OCWR. Thank you all. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Daniel. It's good to be here.
Whitney, let's start with you. What is OCWR and what is your role with it?
I'm happy to start us off. So I'm a clinical psychologist by background, and I am absolutely honored and thrilled to serve as the director of the Office of Counseling and Workplace Resilience. It's actually my dream job. And my role affords me the opportunity to lead an exceptional team of healthcare professionals. And collectively, we provide both strategic and meaningful mental and emotional health services to all faculty, staff, and medical learners across our academic medical center environment. Personally, I come to this work through a lens of caring for those who care for others, and I have a strong interest in encouraging and normalizing help seeking to support our Michigan Medicine community members in both their personal and their professional journeys. When each of us has an opportunity to care for ourselves, it allows us to learn, to grow, to heal, and that has a ripple effect that touches people in our lives, our loved ones, our colleagues, our patients, and our students. And ultimately, that helps to shape and evolve our Michigan medicine culture.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how big of an impact the work that you guys do has on everyone here at Michigan Medicine. Now, Jillian, I'm hopeful you can sort of give us some insight onto what's new and different in OCWR right now.
Yeah, so I'm excited to share some updates about our office. So OCWR is pleased to announce that we've partnered with Protocol to provide after-hours crisis support. Protocol is an industry leader in providing mental health crisis support services for healthcare systems, for universities, and they're the backup provider for the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline nationally. So this past summer, Protocol started taking calls from our Michigan Medicine community members after business hours and on weekends and holidays. Protocol's trained crisis counselors have extensive expertise in responding to crises, and they're well equipped to respond to the needs of our community. OCWR's leadership team will still be paged when there's been an organizational crisis response. So we are still available for that as well. And to reach Protocol, you just call our main number, which is 734-763-5409. You just have to press 1 and you'll be connected to a Protocol representative. If your after-hours call is not urgent, you are also very welcome to just leave a voicemail by pressing 2, and our admin team will reach back out to you on our next business day. Now, another exciting way that we are supporting our community is through serving as a participating site for a U of M Department of Psychiatry clinical research study called PRIME. And PRIME stands for PTSD Recovery Implementation in Employee Assistance Programs. The study aims to reduce symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder in healthcare system and employees and in first responders who are seeking treatment. Counselors in OCWR provide specific trauma treatment to our faculty and staff members enrolled in the study who are experiencing PTSD symptoms after a traumatic event. To learn more about that study or to determine eligibility, you can call Prime directly at 734-764-3585.
That's great to hear. Thank you for sharing all those updates, Jillian. That there's a lot going on and a lot of good stuff helping the team members in our organization. So let's dive into one of our main topics today, which is the Compass Peer Support Network, which we talked about at the very top. Denise, I'm going to turn it over to you. What does it stand for, and how does it help people?
Yeah, so Compass stands for Compassionate Peer and Stress Support. It's an evidence-informed, structured training program for peer supporters. A peer support encounter could be 1 to 3 sessions with a trained peer supporter. All our peer supporters are volunteers across Michigan Medicine in every single role. We have peer supporters, and this really allows individuals to connect with a peer, someone that has shared their lived experience, is compassionate, active listening, and really important that they are able to be resourceful and connect them to additional resources that are available. One really great thing about Compass is the flexibility. So Jody and I co-lead Compass, and in that training, we allow people to really use their creativity in an informal way. So what that means is units have peer supporters, they get trained departments, and then they can informally decide, how do we want to operationalize this? And some are coming up with some really great, innovative ideas, and we'll be connecting with them to learn more so we can share their ideas with the other peer supporters, or in a formal way. So anyone can reach out to the peer support inbox at peersupport.med.umich.edu, and Jody and I will connect them to a trained supporter more formally. So it's a wonderful program, and excited to be.
Yeah. And Jody, as the co-lead, as Denise mentioned, maybe you can help with this. Can you talk a little bit? Let's look back first and then look ahead. Can you talk a little bit about how Compass sort of came to be back in 2019 and sort of the new changes that are going on now, the refresh, and what you're so excited about moving forward?
I am excited to tell you the story because there's a very interesting story that I think that a lot of people haven't heard. I'm new or newer to Michigan Medicine. I started in January, and I'm a psychologist. The person who had my role back, this position was created in 2018. Dr. Kelsey Stratton, who is now the Chief Behavioral Health Strategist for OCWR, she sort of inaugurated this role, and she came from the Peace Corps. So she brought a trauma-informed experience as well as a strong interest in peer support. So when she got to Michigan Medicine, she sort of, I don't know, serendipitously connected with a nurse in patient relations and clinical risk who also had an interest in trauma-informed care and peer support. So in their conversations, they hatched a plan to start a peer support network. And I have to tell you that I'm hearing about a lot of healthcare systems who don't have this. So back when they talked about this, they were pioneers. That's why I want to make sure to tell the story. Like Michigan Medicine was at the forefront of starting this. And so interestingly, they piloted their first group of peer supporters at the end of 2019, which, if you remember, was right before COVID hit, or at least hit the United States. So it was really interesting timing. They decided to pilot the Compass program with training a small group of physicians who had agreed to provide peer support for other providers who had been named in litigation. We know that being named in litigation is one of the most stressful experiences a healthcare provider can go through. So having peer support, because again, there's a sense of isolation, shame. What can you share? Who can you talk to? Who's a safe person? Because Compass is an OCWR program, it's a confidential service, and peer supporters are trained to provide peer support in consultation with the general counsel's office, who has given guidance on what is appropriate and what is off limits. So all those people had a seat at the table. And since that pilot was that program was piloted at the end of 2019, when COVID hit, the interest in peer support really exploded across the organization, and everyone was interested in it because no one knew what was going on. So I really feel like it's important to highlight that origin story, and they were able to scale in close partnership between OCWR and patient relations and clinical risk. We're able to scale the program to offer it to a lot of different departments and units across the organization. So with that said, as I mentioned, I joined in January, and I recognized that the program had such great potential, but I couldn't do it by myself. And I asked Denise, I said, will you be my partner? And with that, I think the most important thing to highlight is Denise and I agreed we want to make the training interdisciplinary. So instead of just training silos, we are making training all virtual so people can join whenever is convenient for them. We are announcing dates a year in advance so people can plan on their calendar to be there and learn from each other. What I have learned is project managers, folks who are in research. It's not just clinicians who are interested in peer support. There are folks across the organization. And I think so beyond, let me say, beyond interdisciplinary training and announcing the dates in advance, I think that some of the other refreshes that Denise and I are sort of even planning out from is automatically reaching out after events of workplace violence. And how do we offer specific peer support to leaders who maybe feel like, oh, I couldn't talk to somebody else. I need to talk to another leader. It's very isolating. And I think I want to highlight most of all that there's a lot going on in the world. And people are scared and worried. And I think that it's so, so important that we build a community of belonging and support, and a community that reflects the values. That's what we can control. And Denise and I would very much like to design Compass to create that community of support here at Michigan Medicine.
Jody, that's such an excellent breakdown, and providing the history and how everything came to be is super helpful. And I hope it's super helpful for our listeners too, to know to see what comes out of it. Denise, do you have anything that you want to add?
Yeah, I would just add that people might be curious. Do we have trainings coming up? When are they? Right. So yes, we do. As Jody mentions, we have trainings already scheduled for 2026. But our next immediate upcoming trainings are November 12th and December 8th. And you can actually go to our website, the Compass Peer Support website, at compass.med.umich.edu, and you will see all the 2025 and all the 2026 trainings, and you can register right there. So we're trying to make it seamless for everyone. So you can go there. We're also offering quarterly support meetings throughout the year because really, as Jody mentioned, building this community, but we also want our peer supporters to feel like they are supported. So in these opportunities, we'll be connecting as community. Maybe there's some refresher training, opportunities to share case studies, what's working, what's not working in an informal way, and how can we truly provide them what they need to be peer supporters. So if you have a friend, a colleague that you know that would be a phenomenal peer supporter, please reach out so we can grow this amazing community. And you can find Jody and I at peersupport.med.umich.edu.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that insight, Denise. That's super helpful. And we'll be sure to get all that information on headlines as well. Jody, a quick question. So can you tell me exactly when the program is implemented and the peer supporters are being trained, what is the next step? What happens after that, and who does it benefit?
So hopefully I've made the case that Compass can potentially benefit anyone. I mean, even if you think about this, like let's say that you're newer to the organization like I was, and you're just trying to figure it out. It's pretty big, or maybe you're new to your role. I know that a lot of people who are new to the role may struggle with imposter syndrome. So there are a lot of, I have a bias. I think anybody could benefit from Compass. So once you're trained, as a peer supporter. And Denise and I do run through scenarios. We can't potentially cover every scenario that somebody might encounter. That's why we have the quarterly support group meetings. But you sign if you're interested, by the way, you can go through training and say, no, this isn't for me. But let's say that you've completed training and you want to continue, you would sign a 2-year commitment. And by the way, if you can't serve for 2 years, we're not going to hold you. It's not some sort of oath, but it is an agreement that you will keep the interactions confidential and that you agree to be listed on the website as a peer supporter. Because that's the other thing. You can go to the Patient Relations and Clinical Risk website and see who are peer supporters. So we try to match people with regard to their preferences, whether they want somebody in their area or not their area. But I think I hit it all.
Yeah, you guys have hit so many details, and it's amazing. And I want to just leave it with this: is what sort of feedback have you received from people who have gone through Compass, and not just Compass? Jillian and Whitney, feel free to chime in too about OCWR in general. What sort of feedback do you get from people who have reached out and taken advantage of your really, really important services?
I want to throw something out, and of course, invite Denise to share as well. I, being new to the organization, have just been blown away at the level of commitment of people in the community. I think that, and one person, you may hear some of this and think, well, we have so much on our plate. You're asking me to do more, but I think that there's a sense of fulfillment for a lot of people that comes from being able to give back and to support other people. And I have just been blown away at the people who have said, I've served in the past and I want to keep serving. And again, just feeling a sense of connection with like-minded folks, and maybe sometimes not so like-minded, and hearing from others as well. I would throw that out. Denise, I don't know if you have anything you want to add.
Yeah, I would just add, one of the things that we hear is really the value of connecting with somebody that's had their lived experience. And also, I think often people organically provide peer-to-peer support, but they've really spoke about having that kind of structure and that framework and that training so that they feel equipped to not hold it all themselves, but also not feel like they have to be a mental health expert. And that was really great feedback that we heard, because you do not have to be a mental health expert. You just have to be a peer that's compassionate, calm is contagious, active listener, and resourceful, right? So those are really things.
I want to also throw out, I apologize. Also want to throw out, I was in there is a national group, consultative group called CHARM, and it's for peer support programs in different healthcare organizations. And the leader of that group, who's a surgeon, said that there are a lot of physicians who are reluctant to seek counseling, but they will talk to a peer. And this work, she said this, and I just felt like this was so powerful. She just said this on Monday night. She said, you may be saving someone's life, because they have a belief. I don't know that we have like really rock hard data at this point, because again, it's still an emerging field, but there is the conviction that peer support reduces death by suicide. And that is a big concern ongoing in the healthcare community.
And I'd like to add that as Compass is a flagship program of OCWR, both Jody and Denise spoke to elements that are core to OCWR, whether you are connecting through Compass or for counseling or a leader consult, or reaching out to us because something impactful has happened on your unit and your team is needing support. And those kind of key elements are compassion and a calm presence. Kind of our unofficial tagline at OCWR is a place of calm in the middle of it all. And it's very gratifying for all of us at OCWR to truly show up for our community, to offer compassion, to create a different kind of calming experience than most folks get to have in their day-to-day lives. And so we pride ourselves on offering something different, and that is much needed. And what we hear is much appreciated by our community.
That said it all. I think we get good feedback that folks are surprised that there is this service available to them as an employee benefit, and that even just for short-term counseling, up to 6 sessions can make such a big difference in their lives, whether it's in their personal life or with their work here in the health system.
That's great to bring it back. Thank you so much for all that you do and all your dedicated work to helping our team members and providing the chance for team members to have a positive experience, and to also help one another through Compass and the rest of the offerings through your office. So if you want to learn more about Compass and OCWR's work, go to mmheadlines.org or check out compass.med.umich.edu to learn more.
All right, it's time for the lightning round when we ask one of our guests 4 quick-fire questions. Now, Denise, we drew straws before the show, and you're going to be the one in the hot seat today. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready. I got the short one?
You did.
Oh, man. All right, I'm ready.
The straw is as long as you want it to be, Denise. So fall has arrived and with it is, a fall sports season, college football, NFL, Major League Baseball, the playoffs are here. Do you have a favorite fall sport? And if not, how about a favorite fall activity?
Okay, I have to say Michigan football. I graduated from Michigan football, work at Michigan, definitely Michigan football. And those Lions, that Monday night football game was a good one. So college football is really my favorite, but I'm gaining more interest in NFL with the Lions.
Outstanding. Well, you were legally required to say Michigan football, so I'm glad that you passed the test on that one. All right, in the spirit of Compass and the work of OCWR, can you recall and share a time where maybe another Michigan Medicine team member helped you through a problem that sort of you find memorable?
Oh, wow. Absolutely. One, the OCWR teams help me every day as a nurse, surrounded by therapists. They really show me compassion. But I actually met with the team this morning, and they said, Denise, we just want to make sure you're okay. And we see you all doing this amazing work. And just having that exchange is just, it's just that sense of community that really brings us back to work every day.
That's wonderful.
I'm so honored to just see the amazing work that they're doing, and it's powerful to watch.
You're a great team, and you're helping so many people, and it's awesome that you're helping each other. So the academic year is well in session, but we're still reminiscing about summer, which just ended recently. Did you have a fun summer event that you attended or some sort of activity that you remember fondly?
Oh, absolutely. We had a really great opportunity to take my husband and I, our 2 granddaughters, to Michigan Adventure. And they're 3 and 5. And so they thought they were at, I don't know, like Cedar Point or someplace big. But it was a wonderful experience. And a couple other times to really just connect with family and enjoy just being outside. So
that's awesome. All right, we're going to close it out by letting you dream big. If you could live anywhere in the world that isn't Michigan, money is not a worry, where would it be and why?
Live? I don't know. I kind of want to be in Bali, to be honest. I just keep seeing these pictures of Bali and the beautiful water, and it's so peaceful. That would be one. But did you say Michigan, Daniel?
No, I said besides Michigan. Because of course everyone dreams about living here, right? So we just figured outside. What's your number 2 choice?
So my number 2 would be up in Portland, Washington area. I had a wonderful opportunity to visit there, and it's gorgeous. And
Jeremy, near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, as a native, I always say this as a native son of Washington. I'm so glad to hear that. So thank you, Denise, for making sure that everybody knows how great the Pacific Northwest is. And thank you, Denise, for playing along. You did great. And thank you to all our guests once again for sharing the details of Compass and the incredible work that OCWR does. To learn more about Compass and OCWR, make sure that you go to mmheadlines.org. That's mmheadlines.org.
All right, Jeremy, we just talked about the Pacific Northwest. Let's talk about something else you love, sports. So we asked Denise her favorite fall sport. What about you?
I think September and October are among the two best sports months. We just talked about college football really gets underway now that teams are starting to play conference seasons. And then obviously the NFL is really getting to high gear. This week is the Ryder Cup. That's probably one of my favorite golf events to watch. And I would say my favorite fall sporting event is definitely baseball. Now, my team, the Seattle Mariners, don't get to play in the playoffs very much. So this year will be the second time in 24 years that they get to do that. So that's fun. But I do enjoy, I think fall baseball, specifically the playoffs, is excellent. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, baseball playoffs are intense and very stressful, where every pitch means something. So I love watching playoff baseball. College football, my family, it's a tradition of my family. We've been going to Michigan football games my entire life. It's actually dated back to the 1930s, I believe, with my grandpa. He went, and then my dad's been going his whole life, and the tickets keep getting passed down. And now it's our generation that goes. So Michigan football Saturdays are obviously awesome. And the Lions, and it's kind of crazy, right? The last 3 or 4 years when they've been good. And they go out and they beat teams they should beat, and they sometimes beat teams you don't think they're going to beat. And it's so much fun. They're an amazing team to root for, a fun team to watch. So, I do love my NFL Sunday too. So my wife would probably appreciate if I didn't spend so much time on sports in the fall and went to cider mills more and see the fall leaves, but it's fun and I love it. So that's what I do.
Do you have any old ticket stubs from back in the 30s that you can reminisce
that's
on?
a great question. My dad might have some down in his storage unit from my grandpa. I should look into that. That would be really cool to find.
Yeah,
or old programs, when they gave out the paper programs at games. You just don't have that anymore. Everything's so digital, and so it'll just disappear when you don't need it.
No, and it's 100 years ago, so it's literally an antique. Yes. All right, well, that's all the time we have for this week. Thank you again to all our guests for joining us, and thanks as always to our listeners and viewers for everything you do for patients, families, and each other. We'll see you next time.